welcome to Thomasville today. I'm Bonnie Hayes. In just a minute, we're going to check in with Lauren Bassford at the Chamber of Commerce and talk about some new programs they have going on. But first, I'd like for everyone to meet somebody I might even call a friend after sitting here talking with you, Gareth Hunter. And Gareth, you are no stranger to Thomasville. A lot of people go, I know that guy, I went to school with that guy. And what's so cool is you're a musician, you're a drummer. You got your start here in Thomasville,
yes, ma'am. But
you've gone on to have a very successful music career. So, Gareth, kind of catch us up with what you've been doing since you left Thomasville.
Wow. Thomasville, when I left home, I went off to college. I went to Georgia Southwestern, and I did the knucklehead thing to do. I had a composing contract offer from A&M Music when I was 19. I jumped at it. I actually left college for that. And that went well for about 2 years or so, and then sleeping on the concrete floor wasn't
That's not going well.
That's not cool.
Yeah.
That tears anybody's back up at any age. So went from there to an independent project, and that did do well. It was called Round and Round with a vocalist by the name of Jeffrey Lewis, who's from Americus, Georgia, which we did it in Americus, Georgia. And that kind of started from that. Everything else came from that.
You've had some music contracts. You've been working with some great artists. Tell me about just one of the contracts you've had.
Well, I've also done work with a label that was called, a studio called Coastal Records, and through there we did work for Walt Disney. I've done different work for Epic Records, for Atlantic Records, for I think every label except for Virgin Records.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that's done a lot of projects for a number of people that you probably would never hear of.
Okay.
And I've done some work for some very famous people.
You have done some work with some famous people. Tell us about Clarence Carter. That's a funny story.
Mr. Carter, I was 24 years old. My God, that's a long time ago now. But I was 24, 25 when I got the call for that. 6 o'clock in the morning. I was actually, that was in between, that was when that song that I told you about that was after the composing contract bombed or went out. And I was sleeping on a friend's couch.
You got to get a gig.
Yeah, you got to do something. My stomach was growling a little bit. I got a phone call 6 o'clock in the morning saying, hey, there's a guy up here named Clarence Carter that needs a drummer. Can you be up here tonight? I said, I don't know who the guy is, but fine. So that was before Google and all of that. So I called my mom, and I asked my mom if she knew who he was, and she said, you remember the guy that when you were a little boy and this commercial would come on and he was unsighted, he couldn't see, and he had on these glasses. At the end of the commercial, he would be singing and he had this crazy laugh, and you would joke about him and you would make up these jokes and you would joke his song all the time. I said, yeah. She said, that's the guy you're going to be playing for. That's your new boss. So I went on the road with Mr. Carter for about a little bit over 3 years.
Right.
Met a lot of great people, was able to pick up some other things with, like one of my favorite things was meeting Bobby Womack, rest in peace, he just passed last year. But the amount of knowledge and wisdom, you know, I was able to, I was starstruck with meeting Ray Charles at the time, and I literally could not speak when I met him. He just had that aura.
That's what happens when you meet one of your idols and you stand there and you've been waiting for that moment all your life, and then nothing comes out.
Yeah. Well, we were actually in Las Vegas at the time, and I walked in on him by accident. It was this huge room. I didn't think anybody was in it, and I actually just walked in it because I'm looking at this casino, Caesar's Palace. When I walked in it, it's at the end of it is Mr. Charles sitting down and some other guy. And that's when it's like I walked in on someone, and I just kind of stood there, and I stared at this man like he could see me. I was scared.
Oh, gosh.
So, and that was it. We didn't speak or nothing, but just the fact that I got that close to him, and then I was able to see him perform that night from backstage. So a lot of experience like that.
You've met a lot of really great artists, talented people, and you're working with a new reggae artist. Tell me about this guy.
Well, as a producer, I've been working for 3 years on a project called Blemishes of Perfection, which is my material featuring different artists. And I was blessed to have the second highest selling reggae artist in history, known as Beanie Man. He did a feature for me on one of my songs. So I actually did that a little bit over a year ago.
Okay.
And we just closed all of the paperwork to make that official and get everything done. But I'm actually working on a bigger project with some Caribbean artists coming up this year. Yeah.
Okay, well that's great. Well, you know, people are sitting here and going, why is she asking him all these questions? Well, one, you've had such great success. Music has been your life. You got a start early. And now you're coming back to Thomasville. And you hope to be an inspiration for some other kids that maybe want to get started in music. Tell me about that.
Well, one of the things I thought about a few years ago when I had probably the third attempt by a couple of organizations to bring me here, did not work out, was that everything that I just mentioned to you came from somebody from a small town. My A&M music contract came from a guy, hello Tony, I'm not going to mention his last name because he wants his privacy, but he heard a demo that I had worked on through a mutual friend in Thomasville. And he knew this guy that was starting this branch of A&M Music in Birmingham, Alabama, and he drove me out there. So that came there. When I did the Bobby Jones Gospel Show, what was that, 2 years ago, that phone call to Dr. Jones was placed by a man in the small town of Americus, Georgia. So, and I could go on and on and on and on and on and on.
Keeps coming back.
Right.
Home.
So what I'm trying to show, especially the youth here, is that look in your own backyard. There's a man in this town right now that has been here for 9 years. That if you Google him, he played for James Brown and everybody that's in that era of music. He's probably one of the most well-rounded drummers from that era that I know still live. And he's in Thomasville, Georgia.
Wow.
My jazz band instructor, unknown to me at the time, was also a platinum-selling producer from Nashville. He was in Thomasville, Georgia. So I'm just pretty much saying, you know, everybody look in your own backyard first.
It's amazing how close everything is. So you've decided to come back, give back to the community, and one of the ways you're going to do it is the Groove Theory Drum Clinic.
Yes, ma'am.
That's coming up January 24th. And free to everybody. So tell us what the kids, you know, the ages you're hoping to bring in and what they can impart from that day.
Well, it was definitely, you know, aiming for the kids. We're always aiming for the generation behind us. But it's open to everybody, adults as well. And I really want adults that have kind of put their instruments down and have been itching to pick it up. Come on out and check out what we're doing. But it's from 10 to 2. Doors open at 9, so anybody that has not been able to register through computer, through my website, the official Gareth Hunter Presents, and that's on Facebook. Whoever hasn't been able to access that will be able to do so in person. But we're going to do demonstrations of technique of play, but it's more going to be for inspiration more than anything else. And we'll do that from 10 to 12. We'll break for lunch. So that's food. That's why registration is important.
So we have have some lunch for you.
We got some food for you, but if 80 people register and 200 show up, somebody's going to be hungry that day. And I'm laughing. I'm taking my plate to the back.
Well, let's talk about, you're bringing in some other talent to help you out. You have a keyboardist, you have a bassist. Tell me about those guys coming in too.
Jermaine Hall is from Albany, Georgia. Jermaine Hall, I met him when he was still a kid. Very talented bassist. Jermaine just returned from touring in Italy just a few days ago. Very talented, very down to earth, and a country boy. He's from your backyard. He's from, what, an hour away, if that long. So he'll be there instructing on bass. Stanios Young, who is a graduate of Thomasville High School as well as I am, is from Thomasville, Georgia. He just returned from the Netherlands last week.
Wow.
So, you know, these are very well-rounded people that have played with the top-line artists as well as our artists themselves. And pretty much we're coming together to show how these three components work together in a band setting and support that lead instrument, which is, you know, vocalist or saxophone or whatever. So,
so people are interested, maybe want to see how it all works, how to bring it together. The Groove Theory Drum Clinic is a place they need to go. What's so cool is it is free of charge.
Yes.
You're not charging anybody. You're giving of your time. These other gentlemen are too. Tell me why that's important to you.
Well, I you know, at some point in time, one thing I've learned is I am what I am because someone in front of me gave to me. You know, we mentioned offline talking about Michael Mayhall. Michael Mayhall, I remember when he had an ill relative at the time, we did a song called Cottage. And that touched me because I could see him tear up while he was conducting it. And you know, and I have that in my MP3 player. I just played it yesterday.
Yeah.
And I that just really touched me and moved me to composing. And from Mr. Mayhall to Mr. Daniels, Greg Daniels, and so forth, to Mr. Fleetwood with the jazz band program, to different people that have just sown into me. I've been blessed to have a lot of great men make me a great man, and I have to say that mainly because I'm a representation of them. And I want to be able to impart that to other people. I remember the guy in the back of a van that gave me a symbol that I still have when I was 6 years old and told me don't quit. You know, I remember those people. So I want to be that same individual to be able to do that. If I just reach one kid that is very talented, a little discouraged and down, and I'm able to encourage them to become the greatness that they are.
And don't quit.
And don't quit.
And just keep hammering away. There might be nights you are sleeping on the concrete, sleeping on somebody's sofa.
I've done that. I've had to sleep outside.
That's just between gigs until you can get the other one. So I think it's absolutely great. And as you did mention, you had some local inspiration, Michael Mayhall being one of them. You got to start pretty early. Tell me how old you were when you first picked up the first instrument.
Well, according to the picture of me sitting down with a pair of bongos and ashy knees, I hope I have the only copy of that, I was 3 years old. And my father was in the military, my father and mother are both natives of Thomasville as well. And I started playing in my dad's band. From there, my first competition, I was 4 years old in Denver, Colorado. With adults, I placed third. And that's when I think my parents were like, okay, we've got something here. So by age 7, I was playing with Florida State University. I had done a bunch of national appearances and so forth. And it just kind of grew from there. That's all I had. I was just, that was my thing. You know, first of all, you have to understand what a lot of people don't know. I was never supposed to even be able to walk. I had braces on my feet before I could even walk. I learned to walk late. I learned everything late. I learned how to read late. The doctor told my parents I would never walk straight, and that pretty much, you know, anything with coordination would be just out of the picture. So here I am. I walk pretty straight.
You walk straight.
You know, and then, you know, I play drums. So there's no medical explanation for, because of certain tissue that's missing between my leg bone and my ankle bone, to explain why I'm able to even physically do the things that I'm able to physically do. So I'm a walking blessing and a miracle within itself.
Well, we're awful glad that you do want to come back, and you do want to give some good wisdom and definitely some inspiration to these kids. I think it's a great thing. All right, so before you go, tell us again the date, time, and the place for the clinic.
Okay, cool. I feel like I'm back in school. Date, time, place. All right, so the date is January 24th. The doors open at 9 a.m. And we're going from 9 to 2 p.m. Okay, and the time, what we say, the date, time, and place.
The place.
Okay.
Tell us where it is,
Let me
because
give
if you
you,
read the flyer, people
read the
go,
flyer,
where
we got
is
something.
that?
Yeah, okay, cool. It's the old Central High School auditorium across the street from Wendy's.
Wendy's,
Yes.
You got to say that. Around here, you have to say
right.
the old.
I forgot. I've been gone for a minute, so I forget. I don't know too many streets either.
That's fine.
Tell
We
me where the
forgive
big
you
oak
this
is
time.
and all
We
of that.
forgive you.
Okay.
Well, Gareth, it sounds like a great thing. Again, you want people to go to your website.
Yes.
Please pre-register so they know how many people are going to be there, and it's on your Facebook page.
Yes, ma'am. And also, if you don't mind, go to Facebook and just the official Gareth, Gareth, Hunter Presents with an S. And that's how you find me. And also, this is going to be streamed to 26 countries, by the way.
Wow.
So my media,
exciting.
my media component, HerTube, they're in 26 countries, and they're streaming it live that day, and we're going to air it later on. And then my next stop with the drum clinic is Dothan, Alabama.
Well, great. Well, good luck with everything. Yeah. Well, I certainly appreciate you taking time, sitting down with me today, and can't wait to see you.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right.